Everything seems to change this year. We spend more time looking at our screen than what is around us. During the period of pandemic, people need these digital devices to kill their time. For college students, they need to study at home with their laptops during the period of COVID-19. XINBEI Li, an international student from China, is pursuing her master's degree in Newcastle University, and this is one of her normal life in the UK.
我的名字叫李欣贝，大家可以叫我 Hannah。我是一名来自中国的留学生。我现在来到纽卡斯尔已经大概有6个月的时间。我现在正在纽卡斯尔大学的媒体与公共关系专业攻读我的研究生学位。
Getting up at 8 a.m. and having a quick breakfast, Hannah practices the presentation she's going to make for today's workshop. She also prepares some questions about the lecture in advance.
我来英国之前的顾虑可能分为2部分吧。第一方面是对生活的顾虑。因为会独自生活，然后可能会担心生活上的一些对自己预估能力的一些不足吧。然后其次就是在这边在英国买到一些中国的食材来满足自己的中国胃，可能会有一点不太方便。尽管会有中超，可能也会不像国内这么方便。是对于学习方面的顾虑。首先是语言方面的障碍，它可能会在目前这种网课形式的授课方式下，会让我担心跟老师沟通可能会有一些困难。然后还有是跟这个当地的这个同学交流，可能也会产生一些隔阂。
Indeed, there are some limitations of online courses: engagement, efficiency, and even group work. Mr. Thiago Bogosian Porto, an international student from Brazil who is reading for his doctorate degree at the University of Surrey, showed the same concern about online learning during this academic year.
I had no idea how the world would be in a few months, so no work that was related to my research made any kind of sense to me. I was just lying on my bed and looking at the ceiling and feeling miserable and saying, I'm not changing anything, this is useless, I just want to be here. And I was refreshing the websites of the newspapers, the news outlets, like how many people died and how the virus was spreading. That was the only thing that I could do for the first weeks.
Yes.
And the PhD research is such a long-term project, so it didn't make sense to work on it during the beginning of everything.
In fact, a lot of international students like Thiago and Hannah have suffered from mental health problems. Looking at the vacant streets, reading books alone, cooking something delicious, going to the Tesco. Most of the time, she chose to stay at flat without any social events. Hannah said, the distance from the kitchen to her room is the shortest physically, but the longest mentally. Amy Zhao, a PhD researcher from the University of East Anglia, supposes that loneliness will lead to mental health problems and influence academic performance. She encouraged more universities to pay attention to international students' mental health.
Feeling lonely or down or isolated, it's very difficult to motivate yourself. I think people tend to go one of two ways. They either completely disconnect and become disinterested, or they completely throw everything of themselves into their work, and often that then leads to burnout, overworking, not taking breaks, things like that. I've observed both of those behaviors in myself and in others.
Dr. Nat Schroeder, Honorary Senior Lecturer in General Practice at the University of Bristol and Director in Expert Self-Care Company, developed an app called International Student App UK to help more international students in many aspects.
It's knowing how hard it was for me when I started as an international student, but also seeing international students as a doctor in student health. So I was consulting with international students, and I know how many are struggling, and how many said it's difficult to find the information they're looking for. So it's all about the expectations and, knowing about study methods. And, for example, if you're from a country where, if you're doing well, you have to get 100% of marks in your exam.
Yes.
Whereas in the UK, you might get 70%, but that 70% is very good. So, but if you see 70%, you might be very depressed and you feel, oh, I haven't done well. But actually, 70% is very good. So
Yes.
I think managing those expectations, I think, is quite important.
When I asked her how many points you will give for the journey to the UK, she said,
我会打6分吧。因为首先，在英国所见到的景色呢，是以前只在课本上看到，然后现在会跟朋友经常出去在周边转一转。重点是，在我的学习过程中呢，我的老师们会极大程度的给我足够的学习资源，比如说像什么 survey 啊，然后一些 recording 的一些资料啊，还有一些学术的文献啊什么的，都是老师精挑细选出来的。这一点是我认为我非常荣幸。在阅读文献，在学习过程中给我带来很多惊喜，是一种滋养吧，是一种对精神和内心的一种滋养。疫情，是一个非常大的一个影响因素。他没有办法跟老师现场 face to face 这样交流，会让我可能遗憾吧。但是希望在接下来的日子，在毕业之前，希望能有机会回到学校跟老师有见面的机会，跟老师当面聊一聊。我想这也会是一个让我毕生难忘的这么一段回忆吧。
This is Hannah's life. Although there are so many difficulties, she still has a positive attitude to face them. Anyway, for her, this is a meaningful year.